Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you've not been here for long, I'm Ollie, I'm 21 and I recently started investing back in November or December of 2024, so I'm fairly new to this, but I've already managed to grow my portfolio to just over 6,000 with some fairly small investments. Today in this video I want to break down exactly what I've invested in and why I've invested into it. And I also want to know though, before we get started, what do you invest in, how much do you have invested and how old are you? I find it as really good inspiration to see that people that are 10, 20 years in front of me on this journey and see just how well they're doing. And I think it'd be great for anyone watching this video. So a quick disclaimer quickly before we dive in. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor and therefore this video is just me documenting my personal investing journey as a 21-year-old student. Please make sure to do any of your own research before making any investment decisions, as investing can be risky. Feel free to contact a real financial advisor if you have any real questions. So before we actually jump into my portfolio, I quickly want to highlight my investment strategy. So personally for me, I started in November to December 2024 and I started with a lump sum of around £500. From then I've tried to DCA or PCA depending where you're from and continuing to invest a set amount each month. I've done that for a long amount of time and now I'm starting to see some real benefits of compound interest already at this early stage. My investment strategy has been up and down as I've learned along the way. However, now I have a pretty set scheme and I currently have 4 pies that I'm investing in with different amounts each week and month. So now let's get into the iPad and I'll show you exactly what I have in my Trading 212 account. So if we dive straight into my Trading 212 account, we can see I have £6,233.92 currently in this account. And as you can see, it's currently broken up into 4 main pies. So I have my main pie, which is something I invest £50 per week into, my investment pie, which is £15 per week, income shares is also £15 per week, and I also have my quantum and semiconductors pie, which is also receives £15 per week. So if we jump into my main pie, that's my current biggest holding of £3,000, or just shy of. 80% of this is allocated to the FTSE All World, the WRP edition. This is an accumulating version of the FTSE All World and something that I think I'm just going to invest in forever and ever long term. Alongside that, I also have the JGGI Global Growth and Income Fund. That holds 10%. And then my iShares Physical Gold and Physical Silver hold 5% each additionally. This is a recent update that I've made to my pie, so you can see actually on each of the positions as a standalone, there's not major growth. However, the pie, since I first started it, which I did start back was when I first started investing, which 13th of December, you can see has made me £320 in the last year and 14% rate of return, which I'm very happy with and think is a lot for such a short amount of time. So I'd actually like to ask you a quick question about this. I currently hold the FTSE All World and I use Just ETF, which is a website that I'll show up on screen now. And this is the tool I use to decide which ETF I wanted to invest in for the long term and put money in for the next 15, 20, 25 years. But that to me wasn't an easiest decision to make. And I know there's others out there like the iShares and there's many other platforms, Invesco also. And I'd like to know, what do you try to invest in for a long term regarding ETFs? It currently holds £1,267 and that is my investments pie. So this is made up of 3 stocks. SoFi Technologies holds 34%, AMD holds 33% and BYD is also 33%. So these are split equally. As you can see though, due to performance, BYD is now down at 30% while SoFi is up at almost 38%. So this does fluctuate, but I also reinvest into this at £15 per week and it does self-balance. So currently SoFi has been doing really well for me and it's up 64%. And I invested back here in the small dip of April and March and have been DCAing into this for every week. So currently on my position I'm up 64% and I now hold just shy of £500 with £479, and this isn't a lot but it's a pretty great feeling to have made such a big amount on such a small investment. So and I'm going to continue investing into SoFi now until it is added to the S&P 500, which is what I do believe will happen in the future. The second one of these is Advanced Micro Devices, or AMD. As you can see, AMD has done really well over the last couple of months, and I've invested now and I hold a price point on this of $130 per share. And we're currently sitting at around $162 per share. And I personally believe this will easily go above $200 per share in a not too distant future. But this again, I'm going to continue investing into for the long term as AI and data centers continue to grow, and I think AMD could have a much bigger market share than it's currently got when you can see what Nvidia has been doing so far. Now finally, BYD, this was a recent addition and currently for me hasn't done too well, but I think this is a long-term hope, as I believe BYD will easily outperform Tesla in terms of EV sales, and I think this could be one for the future. I'm not 100% sure on this, so I'd also like to get your opinions on it, but I currently hold it, and I think I will hold it for at least the next few years, as anything I buy I believe to hold for at least a minimum of 5 years, if I believe there's the opportunity there. Next is my income shares. Now, this is a pie that I made quite a while ago, and I'll show you exactly when. So I invested back into income shares back in earlier the start of this year, the 10th of April to be exact. And since then, I've invested week on week and tried to grow this pot. So what is income shares? Well, income shares offer ETPs. So as you can see, I hold Alphabet, Coinbase, Meta, Nvidia, and Tesla. And this is option trading that is done by income shares, and then I am paid back in dividends as well as some small growth, as you can see. However, ETPs in general, the growth, or what is known as NAV decay, tends to occur whilst the dividends you receive should hopefully outweigh that NAV decay, which currently I have been seeing, so I've been keeping this position open. But to also offset some of that risk, I do also hold the underlying, so I've split that as 8% of the underlying and 12% of the income share. And overall, this pie has done very well for me so far, and as you can see, majority is green with a few outliers, but overall it's doing very well so far. Next is my income. Now, my final pie that I hold is actually relatively new, and I only opened this a few months ago. But I've currently invested in a small amount, but I'm going to try and put more and more into this. And this is the riskier part of my pie, so I want to try and limit it, and that is why I put less into this than any. So my final pie is my quantum computing and semiconductors pie. So I started this at the end of July, the 27th of July to be exact, and since now I have £734 into this. I have a rate of return of 7.1% and a total return of £37.88. So they're not massive numbers, but overall good growth for the small investment I've made. This is built up of a 40% iShares MSCI Global Semiconductors ETF that is an accumulating version. And this is to let a bit less of the risk and remove that, because initially I opened this pie having 25% split across these next 4 companies, where I was now reduced that to just 15. So I have D-Wave Quantum, Ionic, Quantum Computing and Rigetti Computing. These are all going to be big players in the quantum computing space, and I think all 4 of these have a potential to grow massively over the next 5 to 10 years. So I'm going to continue investing into this, as this is my riskiest investment, I would say, in my portfolio, but it does have a massive potential upside. So as always, I'm only going to invest what I can afford to lose and be happy with whatever the outcome is. So there you have it. That's a quick roundup of what I hold in my portfolio and currently what I'm thinking of doing in the future. And I'm thinking this is going to stay the same for the next few months now. So ultimately, I'm at £6,233, which I think is pretty good return on such a small investment over a big amount of time. So as you can see, I'm actually up total return now, £786 and a rate of return of 23.5%. And I think these are great numbers for not even what's been a year in investment. And it's really learned a lot for me on how to invest and how to manage my risk much, much better. Finally, if you've really enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you could like and subscribe and follow along on my journey. I'd also love to hear from you how your journey investing is going, or if you've not even started yet, and what sort of tips and tricks that I've learned that you might like to know. Anything like that, I'll be open to making a video on. But that's it from me for now, so stay tuned for my next video and watch this video if you're interested in some more investment content.